Hi guys, my name is Max Hoffman, and as part of my HackReactor scholarship, I'm going to be teaching you how to deadlift for my to-do video. So like many athletes, after one too many injuries and surgeries, I'm mostly stuck with running and weightlifting. And unfortunately with weightlifting, it is very easy to injure yourself when you're just getting started out, learning proper forms. So what I'm going to show you today is how to do proper form while deadlifting. Yeah, let's get to it. So a deadlift looks very simple in practice. It really, to beginners, just looks like picking up a bar, lifting it from your shins to your waist, and essentially that's what it is. But it also has a lot more intricate components that are easy to miss when you're first learning how to do it. So you put the bar to your shins, pick it up, and that's kind of what a deadlift looks like. There are a lot of more specific points to doing deadlift with a proper form though. And I'm going to talk about those today. One, what to do with your lower body. Two, what to do with your upper body. Because it's pretty easy to miss those pointers when you're first learning how to do this. So first, what to do with your lower body. So at the start, you want your feet about shoulder width apart. And the heuristic I've heard is to keep it at about jumping distance. So keep your feet apart as is comfortable when you're jumping. You want to keep your toes a little bit pointed outwards because it's easier to squat down when your knees are pointed outwards and your hips are more open. And together with that, you want to keep your hands about right outside your feet. Whatever's really comfortable for you. You don't want to keep your hands really wide or really narrow though. You want them somewhere so they're out of the way of your knees, but not too wide so that you're lifting with your shoulders. So then the two main points. One of the main muscle that the deadlift works is the hamstrings in addition to the glutes. So one of the most important parts of the deadlift is putting much of the tension on your hamstrings. And what that's called is loading the hamstrings. And what that looks like is leaning back into the lift. So you can kind of test this for yourself. If you squat a little bit standing up and lean backwards, you can feel your hamstrings tightening to prevent you from falling. When you're deadlifting though, you have a counterweight to prevent you from falling backwards. So when you fall backwards a little bit, you bring the bar to your shins, and lean backwards. What you're really doing is putting most of the tension on your hamstrings. And that's a really critical part of A, making sure you don't get injured while doing this, B, actually working the muscle that this is supposed to. So again, what it looks like, bring the bar to your shins, lean back a little bit, you're putting most of the tension on your hamstrings, and then you lift, you tighten the glutes, relax the hamstrings. So second, as I mentioned, is the upper body. Because the upper body arguably is the more difficult part. Because usually when people deadlift wrong, they hurt their lower back. So why do they hurt their lower back when they deadlift? It's mostly because they try to deadlift how they pick up things in normal life, like boxes. So they see people deadlifting, oh, it's just picking up the bar. So they pick up the bar like most people would pick up a box. They keep their back really rounded, and they lift with their back rather than their legs. I'm sure you've heard that expression before. So what to do about that? So again, you want to put most of the tension on your hamstrings. And the way of doing that, the way of taking pressure off the spine, which might sound a little counterintuitive at first, is actually tightening those lower back muscles and even your traps if you can. So then you come down, lean back a little bit. What you want to do is try to tighten these back muscles as much as possible, because that's actually going to take much of the strain of the actual weight off of your lower back. Let you do the lift a little easier and prevent you from getting injured. As to your shoulders and your upper body and your arms, you want to try to keep those as loose as possible. So you want to come down, put most of the tension on your hamstrings, tighten that lower back to make sure it's straight, but then loosen up the upper body as much as is possible. Obviously you want to keep hanging onto the bar, but the more you can tighten that lower back, relax that upper back, tighten the hamstrings, the better workout you'll get from a deadlift and the less likely you'll be to get injured. And as goes with most weights, it's a lot easier to do heavy weight with bad form, but it's also a lot easier to get injured doing it that way. So what I would recommend, or what I would have recommended myself when first learning how to do this, is to use a pretty low weight. Make sure you get down the form first, because ultimately being able to do any kind of exercise, including a deadlift, with good form, with low weight is a lot more important for the long term, actually getting better at it and kind of improving your strength and stability. And as always, avoiding getting injured. So thanks. Hope you learned something.